It's just turning. I don't know what that means. This isn't all going. Okay. Oh, something's happening. Okay, so I'm a little bit behind. I can see it now. I'm told that the quality is much better on YouTube, so let me just turn this down. Oh, but I still don't know. I don't know if I can see comments. Let's see. Okay, I think if somebody comes on and says something, I think I will see it here. Not positive. It's my first time on YouTube, YouTube Live. Usually I go on Facebook Live. If you guys come on here, say hi so I know you're here, so I can get the logistics of how this works. So doing a Christmas wreath today, because you know, Christmas in August. So I've got this sign to put on the front, and I've already got the base of my wreath done. It's a red and green striped mesh. So first thing we're going to do is secure the sign down. I want to pull all of my little twist ties up and out of the way. And I just do that when I'm putting larger signs on because I don't want the ribbons to be underneath where the sign is. I want them to be out. So I'm just going to place this in the center of the wreath. And this particular sign already had 2 holes, one right there and one there. I could drill some holes in the bottom as well just to really secure it so that it doesn't flip up, and I probably will do that because I don't like when the sign is able to move. So let's just see where the best place is going to be to drill them. And I also need to decide how I want to do it, because usually I'm drilling through wooden signs. This one being plastic, I don't know if I want to go straight in through or if I want to go through the side. I think maybe we can go through the side. So let me just set this down and get my drill, aka iPad stand, and I'm going to go through right here. And I think also, where else do I want to go in at? This one is a little bit harder. I guess we'll just go in right here. Okay. Let's set this back up. Okay, so now we want to use some florist wire. I've got green and silver. I'm going to use green for this so that it doesn't show up. So I'm going to need 4 pieces of this. There there was probably a way for me to post something on Facebook saying that I was going to go live on YouTube, but I didn't even look into it that far. I just heard that the quality is better on YouTube, so I figured I'd give it a shot. And I don't think I can see any difference while I'm watching it. It's probably just going to be in the playback. Okay, so we've got those cut. And I'm just going to go ahead and feed it through the hole that I drilled. And then I'm just going to twist it off. And I'm going to do it on this side as well. This one I kind of have to bend to get in there. There we go. There's a little bit of a delay. Looks like it's probably about maybe about 15 seconds or so. So basically on these, where I'm attaching the wire on these upper holes, these were just holes that were already in the sign because there was when I bought it, there was like a ribbon, you know, from one side to the other so that you could use it to hang on the wall or on a door or whatever, and so I just took that off, and so I'm just using those preformed holes. Okay. So now I just want to reposition it again exactly where I want it. I want to make sure it's centered. I want to kind of get an idea as to where I'm going to be feeding my wires. And I'm just going to start with the first one. Feed it down in kind of exactly where I think it would line up. And then I'm going to reach in from behind and pull those wires through. I'm going to do the same thing on this side. And you're always trying to just make sure that it's still centered and that it doesn't get off center at all. And sometimes you have to go through multiple layers of mesh. That makes it a little bit more difficult as opposed to just going straight through one piece. Okay. But once you get it fed down in there, then like I said, you just want to make sure that it's still centered. I'll come over here and do these ones. And when you've got two ends down, then you want to try not to really lift it up too much because you don't want to pull those wires back out. So I'm going to feed these ones down. one more. Okay, so we've got them all in, and now, once again, like I said, I'm just repositioning, just making sure that it's all centered exactly where I want it. And once I've got that, then I'm going to go ahead and tie it down. So to tie it down, I'm basically just going to go in behind here, and sorry, I know it's dark, but there's the back of the wreath, and so I'm just going to find wires, like here's two of them right here, and I'm going to tie them around the one of the rings of the wreath base. And I'm going to do that on all four. So again, just making sure that I constantly get it positioned correctly. And I just simply pull one of the wires around one of the rungs and one on the other side. And then I just start twisting it around the rung. You don't want to pull down on it too tight because that will compress the mesh too much. And if you find that you have too much, excess wire, you can just snip the excess off. You don't have to keep twisting it all the way down. And do the same thing over here. And I know you can't see what I'm doing. I'm just, like I said, I'm just putting one of the wires around one side of the ring and the other wire around the other side, and then I'm just twisting them off in the back just to secure the sign. Cutting off the excess wire and then moving around to the next one. I'm really not pulling down on this one too tight. So like I said, I don't want to compress the mesh. I want the sign to just kind of float on top of the wreath. But you also don't want it to be, loose. You want it to be snug, but like I said, just kind of floating right on top. Now before I tie this last one down, I just want to double check again and make sure that my placement is good. And it does still look good. This wire is, let me see, I went around one of the rings that was further down and my wire wasn't really long enough for that one, so I just had to readjust it. Okay. Okay, so that was my last one. I'm going to just snip the excess off of that. And then while I'm back here, I am going to, I've got those wires twisted together, and now I'm just going to wrap them around the base of the wreath form just to further secure them. And you do that also so that the wire isn't sticking out and, you know, gonna poke you if you grab it the wrong way. Okay. There we go. So that's on there good now. And you can tell, I mean, you can, you know, lift it by that. It's not going anywhere. Okay, so some of the ribbons that I've chosen for this wreath, I'm only doing 2 different types of ribbon. I'm doing this red and green kind of plaid. Just hold that up. It's got like a little bit of a foil gold on it as well. And then also doing this emerald green sheer with a glitter swirl pattern. It's kind of, I don't know, I had a hard time kind of trying to decide what I wanted to go with for this wreath, because I do know that these 2 colors are going to blend in really well, and I'm risking the fact that they may get lost in there. But with the sign being green and glittery, and the mesh being green and red and kind of glittery, and I just thought better to just kind of stick with the same theme on this one. So I've also got these red glittered picks we're gonna try to incorporate, and I've got some bells here. There's some green and gold and red, and then I also have some red Decoflex tubing, and maybe we'll add some of that in. We'll just kind of play it by ear as we go. So we're going to start by adding the ribbons in, and I'm just going to do 1 ribbon in every other twist tie. I've already got them all pre-cut and dovetailed. You'll see I've got the ends dovetailed. Just gives a more finished look, and also stops the ribbon from fraying at all. So I'm going to go ahead and place 1 in every twist tie. Like I said, I'm going to alternate the ribbons. And all I'm doing to put them in is I'm folding the ribbon in half and just pinching it so that I get my center crease, opening it back up, gathering it in the center where my crease is, and that makes a little kind of bow tie, and then I'm placing it in the twist tie and tying it off. Nice and easy. And then when I only do a single ribbon in each twist tie, I like to pull them both out in a V pattern. A lot of times when you use 2 ribbons in each twist tie, you'll do them in an X pattern and alternate them. But we're only doing 1 in each tie this time. this part of it is just a little monotonous, just over and over doing the same thing. There's 18 twist ties on the wreath, so we've got 18 ribbons to put in, 9 of each. I've been working on Halloween wreaths lately and have sold quite a few Halloween ones just recently. I've sold, I sold my first Christmas one. I actually sold a Christmas one like last March, but sold my first Christmas one recently for this season. So, but mostly what's going out right now is Halloween. I do have quite a few fall wreaths that are done, so I would imagine that those are going to start going soon as well. Getting close to be that time of the year where wreath makers all get very busy, which is good. I'm hoping that this works the same way that the Facebook Live works. Like, I can tell that I can see when there's somebody watching, but I'm hoping that if somebody types something that it'll come up here and I'll be able to see it. So if you're watching and you want to say hi, go ahead and say hi just so I know how this works, because like I said, this is my first time doing a YouTube Live. I usually go live on my Facebook page. I have like no subscribers on YouTube. All of my following or subscribers are all on Facebook, so I've got to figure out a way to take one over to the other. Not that I have a huge following on Facebook, but 500 is better than none, so. Excuse me. Hopefully nobody will call or anything during this, because I actually forgot to turn off my, or put my do not disturb on my phone. Oh, but I guess it doesn't matter, because I'm just watching on my phone. I'm not actually live on there, so I don't think it would matter. When I first started out, before I had my camera, I would just have my phone sitting like on a tripod and like all rigged up, and I would have to go and hit the live button and then hurry up and run around, and that was fun. But it's a little more professional now. Now I can zoom in if I want to and take you guys in and a little closer. Let's see. It's going to take a little, well, by the time you see me do it, it'll happen, but kind of a cool feature, bring it a little closer. Okay, so that was the last one on the bottom ring, and so then you can see how that looks. Let me pull you back out. So that's just with the outer ring done. Now we're going to go in and do the inner layer. And I try to alternate them again so that they're not sitting one on top of the same one. You know what I'm saying? I think this will probably be the only live that I do tonight, just because, I don't know, I'm beat, and I do need to work on more wreaths, but I don't know if I'm going to do the next one live. I think I'll just work while I'm watching TV. It's not bad when you've got, you know, people on who can kind of keep you entertained and you can talk back and forth, but when there's not anybody on, sometimes I find myself starting to like just get in the zone, and I realize I haven't said anything for 15 minutes and it's been quiet the whole time, and that's why nobody's on and nobody, you know, so. I wish I had, like, you know, a more, I don't know, talkative personality, but I generally tend to be kind of a quiet person by nature, and so it's, I don't want to say it's like work to me, but it's like, it's a little bit of a struggle for me to just be so talkative. Okay, so where I've got the sign tied down, now I need to kind of get in underneath there into that twist tie to stick this ribbon in. So I'm just gonna like reach in as close as I can, get it as, actually I need to open that twist tie up first. So let me open it. Okay, now I'm gonna reach in there and get the ribbon pushed down as far as I can into the center of that twist tie, and then tie it off real tight. And I realized that, you know, if I hadn't put the sign in yet, I would be able to just do the ribbons and then move them out of the way and then put the sign in. I don't know. I just feel like it's easier for me to do the sign first and know that it's centered and it's in the right place, and then I'll just work around the sign when I have to. To each his own, though. I'm sure there's plenty of people who will add the sign last. But that's just me. Oh, I forgot to turn on my glue pot. Let me turn that on so that that gets nice and hot. That way when we go to start sticking these in, it's ready. So I do not open the twist ties on the bottom ring, but I do on the upper ring. And that's just because my upper ring has 2 layers of mesh in it and my lower only has 1. So just to kind of put the ribbons at the same level, I open the twist tie on the top to get it down further to the same level that the bottom ones are, if that makes any sense. It will probably make plenty of sense to a wreath maker, but if you're just happening upon my video and checking it out, you're probably like, what the heck is she talking about? am I the only person who, you know, will come across a video on YouTube and it could be something that I had never even previously really thought about or had any interest in, but it will pique my curiosity, and then I will watch, like, I don't know, 40 videos on that thing. Like, for example, like, I hate doing my makeup. I'm not one of those makeup girls, and if I didn't have to work, I probably wouldn't put makeup on at all, unless I was going outside the house, but to me, it's just like a giant waste of time. I dread it. Like, I try to do just the bare, not the bare minimum, because I have, you know, a whole routine that I go through, but I try to just fly by and do it as quick as I can. Anyhow, the other day I was on YouTube, and I came across a video of a girl doing her foundation, and I was, like, mesmerized. And then I watched, like, all of her videos and a couple videos from other people, too, because it's just, I don't know, it's just, like, mind-boggling to me that, you know, they can, I don't know, they just do such a good job at what they're doing, you know, on YouTube, their videos, and even though it's something I'm not into, like, I'm able to totally appreciate the talent that they have. And so, of course, that then led into this whole thing where I was like, I need to run out and buy $80 worth of makeup. And I need to do all the techniques that she's doing. Even though somewhere in the back of my head, I knew this is not something I'm going to keep up with, because it's not something that I like to do for myself. But I went out, I got all of the stuff. And so I came home, and I had gotten, like, a foundation brush and all these different foundations and blah, blah, blah. So I put the first one on the first day before I was going to work. And I do it all with the brush, and I'm going all over, and I'm feeling all professional and everything. And I put my powder on, and as I'm going, like, I'm starting to look more and more orange. And I had gotten the lightest color of this foundation. And it just did not look good. But I didn't have time to fix it. I had to go to work. And, I mean, it wasn't like, I didn't look like Oompa Loompa. But I just looked darker than what I normally do. So I was like, okay, lesson learned there. That foundation was too dark. So I go out a couple days later and get a totally different one. Different powder, different foundation. I put that on, and the shade is much better, but it just still doesn't look right. And I'm like, really? Like, every video that I watched over the last 4 days says how putting your foundation on with your fingers is a big no-no. Like, you have to do a brush, or you have to do these, like, beauty blenders, they're called. And until then, you know, I'm just putting the stuff on with my fingers. And I was like, how's this possible? Like, I'm doing the right thing, and it looks like crap. It looks worse than, you know, what I'd been doing. So, I don't know, I started to, like, I thought, okay, let me stick with this foundation and this powder, but I'm just going to go back to doing it with my fingers, you know, if that's what works for me. So, I went to work like that for a couple days. And finally, my husband says to me today, he's like, you know, is that the same foundation that you normally wear? And I was like, no, you know, I bought all this new stuff, blah, 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 blah. And he's like, yeah, it doesn't really look good. And, you know, and he didn't mean it mean. He just meant it honestly. So, I get out my old stuff, put it on my old way, put my old powder on, put everything. And honestly, like, I looked in the mirror and I was like, man, I look good. And it's like, why did I just spend all, in total, like $150 because I started watching a YouTube video? Like, really? And then, so anyway, that got me thinking, like, is that what happens? My glue pot is smoking. Is that what happens when you guys, like, if you guys are watching this, do you automatically think, I gotta go out, I gotta get some mesh, I gotta make my own wreath, I've gotta, you know, or any crafts like that. Like, Am I the only one that does that, or do you think that happens to everybody? I guess that's just, you know, I guess it's just inspiration. And I guess it just kind of speaks to the person who's doing the video, I guess. Because if you can prompt other people to take action and go and do something, good for you. You know what I'm saying? So foundation girl, you prompted me to go out and spend $140, try like 3 different shades of foundation, only to, in the end, come back to my own foundation, my own technique, and now I've got $150 worth of makeup sitting in a drawer. But what are you going to do? Okay, so all of the glitter is like, it's not falling off, like it's falling off down here at the base. But so anyway, I'm just going to kind of just stick these. I want to try to see, I've got plenty of these because I've got more, but I just kind of want to see like how I want to place them, because do I want them coming out like every which way and then actually have this wreath be like 3 feet wide, or do I just want to place them in certain spots? What do I want to do? Let's see. I don't know. Okay, well, we'll think about that later, because first I'm going to go ahead and tie these in, or tie this in. So this is Decoplex tubing, and just take out one bundle here. Okay, so we're just gonna do a couple like figure 8 patterns, like a larger figure 8 and then a smaller figure 8, and so that it's like this. You see that? And then we're going to go ahead and place that in every other twist tie. I'm going to just do the green, the ones that have the green ribbon in. So I open up the twist tie, push that way down in there, tie it back off, and then trim that. This is not wired, but it does hold its shape. You want to try to keep them uniform, so make this one the same size as the one that I just did before. And again, open up the twist tie, push the tubing down in there, and then twist it back off. And then trim it. And it does kind of get a little twisted up, so you have to just kind of keep untwisting it. you guys like this video and you like watching watching people do crafts, give me a thumbs up. Be my first thumbs up. Don't you want to? I would appreciate it. You can share this video, hit subscribe. That way you can get notified when I do some more. Okay, so that's every other one on the upper level. Let me just untangle this whole mess here. Okay. Now we're going to go in and do every other one on the bottom as well. My glue pot has stopped smoking. Let me just check the consistency here. Alright, I'm just going to turn it up again a little bit and get that puppy going. I sell my wreaths online on eBay and Etsy, and I've got my own website at www.deckthatwall.com. But I also sell in my town at a local craft, not a craft shop, but like a, what's it called? I don't know, I guess like a, it's kind of like a craft store, I guess. It's not like, it's kind of like a, gosh, what are those stores called? Like, not antiques. I mean, there are some antiques there, but there's a lot of handmade stuff there too. So I guess like a craft mall. Craft mall. That's what it is. So anyway, I sell them at a local craft mall as well. I've got a booth. And I was in there today to just kind of go in and check on them, because a lot of times people come, you know, and they check out your stuff and they take the wreaths down and they look at them, and then, you know, they look at the price tag and then they put them back up and they just basically throw them back up however they want to. Like, people, if you're looking at somebody's stuff and it's handmade stuff, you know, somebody has taken their time and, you know, put time and effort into trying to do the best that they can. If you take it down, like, have the courtesy to put it back up the way that it was. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, so I have to go, I go like, you know, I don't know, once or twice a week, just to kind of check on them and straighten everything out, put everything back the way it's supposed to be. And so today, I was there, and a couple wreaths had sold, which was good, and I can't help it, like, I still, even though I've had the booth for a while, like, when you see somebody, like, coming up on your booth, you can't help but, like, you go to the next booth, and you pretend that you're looking at stuff, that way you can hear, you know, what they think of it. And it was actually really good today. Like, I was there in the next booth just kind of looking at some random stuff, eavesdropping. And this lady came up and she was like, oh my gosh, look how pretty these are, and this and that. And she just really, really had lots of great things to say. And then she was like, how much are they? And she looked, and then she quickly went on to the next booth. But still, it was good to hear. It was good to hear the compliments. It's nice to hear people say that stuff, because honestly, it's not like that all the time. Sometimes you stand there and you hear people say, Like, it's usually like 2 people together, and the first one will say, "Oh my gosh, look how pretty these are," and then the other one, who is like, you know, the know-it-all, is like, "Oh, you could make these yourself." They charge a fortune for these, and it only takes like $5 to make them. I mean, you can make this yourself for $5. I'm here to tell you, folks, you can't make it for $5. At least not like this, not for $5. But anyhow, and they're like, yeah, it's totally not worth the money. Then move on and go buy something else. So anyway, so it's nice to, you know, when you hear somebody, like, I don't mind that you don't buy. You know, I get that. I understand that it is kind of a pricier item, and I totally understand that. But you don't have to put down somebody's work just to, I don't know, make yourself feel better. Anyway, that's not what happened today. Today the people were very complimentary. It was nice to hear. Gave me that good, happy little feeling. Even though they didn't buy anything, I was still just happy to hear the compliments. Another thing that's going to be interesting to see in doing this on YouTube is normally on Facebook, like, even if I don't have, you know, a whole lot of people coming on and watching for the whole broadcast, a lot of times I do have a lot of people come back and watch the playback. So it'll be interesting to see what the numbers will be like on YouTube as far as just watching playback, because I still think that a lot of people just go on YouTube and watch videos that are already recorded versus looking for live streaming videos, but we'll see. Oops, that's the wrong one. Let me go over to the green one. This is my last one to put in, and then we'll be adding the bells and the glittery red picks. Okay, done with that? Okay, so it's time for another monotonous point. So certain wreath forms, the foiled or metallic pencil wreath forms, they're called. These are the ones with the kind of skinny little twist ties. They tend to, the outer ring tends to flop outward over time. So I like to take these twist ties and push them in and attach them to the base of the wreath just to secure them. That's just me. It's just, I like to know that it's not going to go anywhere. And it does take a little bit of time. So again, I apologize for any boredom, because you just got to go through every one. Push it to the back, push the other one to the back, and then tie them around the base of the wreath form. I will say, earlier when I was talking about my makeup story, I do like lipstick. I do enjoy like a nice good dark lipstick, and I like lip liners, so I will say that. But I really do not take any pleasure in doing my eye makeup or anything like that. had pizza tonight for dinner. I watched one of the Mission Impossible movies. So when that was over, I decided I would come down and get this wreath done. And that mic picks up a lot. I can see what it's picking up, and it looks like even when I'm not talking, it looks like it's picking up the hum of the air conditioner. So I think even though the ribbons are basically the same colors as the base of the wreath, I do think that it looks good. It just kind of, I mean, they don't really get lost. It kind of just gives it a more, I guess, busy look. Like there's a little bit more going on. Like I said, this you've got to do it with every twist tie. So there's 10 on the outer ring and 8 on the inner ring. And I don't really need to do the inner ring. I don't know if I'm going to or not. I probably will, just to make it look uniform. But the outer ring, like I said, if I don't, on these metallic pencil wreath forms, if I don't do this, they just, over time, they sometimes have a tendency to kind of flop backwards, and so that whole layer will eventually start to flop. So anything that I can do to further increase the lifetime of the wreath is better for my clients, and ultimately better for me, and better for everybody. I don't ever want to send something out that I know in the back of my mind is not the best that I could have done. You know what I'm saying? That's not to say that it's the best wreath, but that it's the best that I could have done. So I always want to make sure that what I'm sending out is my best, that I know that I couldn't have done it any better for me. And I just think that that is good customer service. I always want to know that, you know, hopefully I can keep everybody happy with the product that I'm providing. I appreciate the fact that, you know, when somebody buys something from me, like, I appreciate the fact that they're buying from me, that they could have purchased from so many people. And the fact that they chose to purchase from me, like, I totally appreciate that. I have quite a few repeat customers, and I totally value that. So I like to make sure that I'm giving them my best. Maybe that's why, actually, like, I'm thinking again about the YouTube video of the foundation girl. I think maybe that's what kind of caught me, or got me hooked on her videos for that little bit, is because, like, I just felt like she really knew her stuff, knew what she was talking about, and, you know, I don't know, like I said, I guess valued, you know, her talent in that area. Even though it didn't work for me, I mean, I don't blame that on her. Everybody's different. Everybody's faces are different, obviously. But I totally valued, like, I guess just the way she did her videos and the information she was providing. So I just started on the inner ring, tying those down. I did my first one, so we got 7 more to do on the inner ring, and then we'll be done with this portion. So basically I'm just pulling the twist ties into the center of the wreath, wrapping, doing one above and one below the wreath form ring, and then tying them, twisting them off around one another. And it's just going to keep everything in place. And once I get these all done, then I'm going to have to kind of flip the wreath over and trim them all. You don't always have to do this, and honestly, like, you know, some people may not do it at all. On the regular wreath forms, the ones with the thicker twist ties, I don't usually have, well, for one thing, it's much harder to do because the twist ties are not as long, so there's not usually enough excess to actually bring it to the back and tie it off. But you also generally don't need to. For some reason with those ones, the outer layer doesn't ever get floppy like it does with these pencil ones. And it seems like it happens with, you know, the metallic pencil ones more so than the regular pencil wreath forms. It's just my own experience, so. But I know there's plenty of wreath makers who don't ever hide the twist ties. And honestly, the first year or two that I was doing them, actually the first, like, probably, I guess, 4 years, I didn't hide them either. It's just one of those things that I kind of found, started, you know, noticing as I was going along. So, you just tweak things as you learn. I think I've got 3 more left to do here. And then I'll show you what they look like in the back. Alright, this should be the last one. Okay. So, those are all pulled to the back now. Oh, this way. Here we go. So if I twist that, turn that over, can you see, like, let me turn it so that you can hopefully see all those twist ties that are just kind of sticking out here? Like there's one there. I don't know if you can. I'm trying to turn it so that you can see. Anyway, all of those. So I just need to, I'm going to trim them off with my snippers. And I'm not going all the way down to the base because, again, I don't want to leave a pointy portion sticking up. So after I've trimmed them all, I'm going to then tuck them down back into the inside of the wreath. Usually I cut these from the other side, like I hold the wreath up and cut them from the underneath, and usually these things get all over my floor, and then I end up stepping on them and dragging them all through the house. Okay, I think that's all of them. So then I'm just going to push them to the inside. That way there's not any sharp pieces sticking out. Alright, we'll turn it back over. And when you've got it flipped over like that, obviously some of your ribbons are going to get smushed, and so you just kind of need to readjust those a little bit. That's one reason why I always use wired ribbon, because it's very easy to just go back in and adjust. Okay, so now for these bad boys. I've got to figure out where we want to place them. Let me see here. I'm just going to stand up for a minute because I want to just get... Okay, so these are kind of long. So I do want to make sure that I kind of get them tucked in as far as I can go. That way they're not sticking out too far. So I'm just going to go ahead and take this and just dip it right in my glue pot. And then I'm going to go right back in here. Most of these are about the same size, but I think there are one or two that are a little shorter, so I'm going to try to keep everything symmetrical. And they're all just kind of wrapped around one another here. So for example, like the one that I just did over here is a longer one, so I want to make sure I do the same thing on this side. And I always like to kind of pre-place it first and make sure that the area that I'm putting it in is a good spot. This one I may have to trim a little more. Oh, this was it was a really thick one. So I want to pre-place it first to make sure that that's the right spot. See, I feel like that's not really the right spot. I feel like this is the right spot. Okay, so that's it. So I'm going to just bend that a little bit, dip it in my glue pot, get a good amount of glue on there, get the exit. Ow, that's going to leave a mark. And that is burning. Damn. That's not the first time that's happened. And again, if you're a wreath maker, you know. Okay, so let me try that again. Just pull that excess off. Sometimes it's better to kind of just, when it lands on your skin, it's better to just let it sit there for a second, because if you go to try to get it off too quick, you're just going to burn yourself again. Okay, so where was it? Right here. Now I've got all this glue all over the place. Yep, I'm pretty sure I just pulled off a layer of skin with that. That is going to hurt. It hurts now. No pain, no gain, right? Okay. So let's see here. Okay, so right now, we've just kind of got them fanning out. Still trying to pull glue off of my skin. I think that's actually my skin that is pulling off there. Okay. And then now I've got glue all over my mat. It's all getting chaotic now. Okay. Let me just clean this up a little bit. Okay. Get it together. Okay. Okay, so we've got that there. And where are my smaller ones? Okay. Yeah, these two. I mean, they're not much smaller, but... So let me just see how I want to place these ones, because I think I'm just going to keep these on the bottom. Yeah, I think that'll look good. I feel like I need to, I said this once to somebody about, like, coming up with a way to wear gloves or something while working with hot glue, but then they brought up the point that if the glue got on the gloves, then, like, you'd have latex stuck to your hands, which wouldn't be good. But there's got to be something, some kind of, oh, there we go. Some kind of alternative, because not saying it happens a lot, but those of you in the wreathing industry or the crafting industry know, like, it happens and it hurts. And it's not even just that I'm using a glue pot, because it happens with a glue gun too. Okay, so I'm trying to just kind of fan these out a little bit. And get them right in the right spot. They are kind of bendable, which is good. Okay. I don't know if I need to, kind of don't think I need to add any more. I don't know, maybe I'll just snip these off and put a couple further up on the wreath. And most of the time when I burn myself, it's because I'm trying to avoid glue dripping on whatever I'm working on. Okay. Let me see if I want to add any of these little squiggly pieces in. I might put in a couple pieces down here at the bottom. I wish I could tell if this was a little bit of glue left on me, or if I go to peel it up, if that's going to be my skin. I don't want to peel it off if it's my skin. Okay, and I do see where I got most of that glue as I was trying to get it off of me. So hopefully I'll be able to pull most of that off without having too difficult of a time. I'm going to just kind of play with that for a little bit, get some of that off. cut a portion of it out. The glue isn't hot at all if it just sits for half a second, you know. It's just that initial contact. Okay, so I think we're good. I'm just going to let that sit for a second before I pick it up. I'll let those last couple pieces kind of adhere. And while I'm thinking about it, let's go ahead and put in a couple jingle bells. I'm going to do some red and green. Sometimes I attach these with floral wire and sometimes I just glue them on. It really doesn't seem to make any difference, so just for the sake of time and since I've already got my glue going here, we'll just glue these ones on. Okay, so I've got 4 of those in there. I'm going to turn this off. Alright. So, here is the final product. Let me pull that out a little bit. What do you guys think? So I'm going to go ahead and set that here because I can't take any pictures of it yet because it's so dark out. I'll wait for tomorrow with some natural lighting and get some pictures and get it listed for sale. If you guys liked watching me make my Christmas wreath, give me a thumbs up. If you want to see some more, hit subscribe. If you want to see me burn myself some more, hit subscribe. I appreciate you guys watching, and check out my website. It's www.deckthatwall.com. See you guys next time. Bye.